Welcome to the author interview at Inkscript Literary. Today, I'm glad to be joined by Larry O'Brien, the author of Cornero's Gold. The book Cornero's Gold is a fiction novel with a twist of romance. Its setup is in the 1970s of California, Los Angeles, with the adventures of Kit O'Banion. Thanks for joining us today, Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Yes, I'm attorney Vanessa Hernandez from the legal department.
Okay.
To start with, the very first question is, can you tell us a bit about the story, Cornero's Gold, and its genre?
Well, I like to call the genre noir light. It's more in the vein of the Thin Man series from Dashiell Hammett, if you have ever read those, where and the more in the modern genres, it would be something similar to Psych or Magnum PI, the original series, not this lousy second one.
Okay.
This is a little more emphasis on the humor and the relationship between the characters. The story is what Alfred Hitchcock used to call a MacGuffin. It is the reason for the plot, but it is the reason for the interaction between the characters, and it gives its flavor and lightheartedness. But that's kind of what I was going for, and I think I achieved it.
Okay, so what initially sparked the idea for Cornero's Gold, Mr. O'Banion?
Well, my father used to tell me, who's one of the main characters, by the way.
Okay.
He told me a tale of an Uncle Jack who was a faro dealer. Faro was a very popular card game in the 1800s and the early 20s and 30s on a gambling ship called the Rex, which really did exist. And Tony Cornero was the owner, and they had a string of gambling ships all up and down the coast from San Diego up to Point Doom, which is at the north of Santa Monica Bay. And this gambling fleet in the city and state kept trying to close him down, and they'd go out there and they'd throw his slot machines overboard, raid his boats, and everything like that. And they made it difficult for the water taxis to go back and forth, and they kept moving the legal limit from 3 miles out to 12 miles or 13 miles. So it was a very uncomfortable ride for the water taxis to get out to the boat. And he finally folded up his tent and moved to Vegas in the early 40s. But the story takes place in the 30s. And I read a book called Noir at Sea, which told the story of all of the gambling ships, something like that. And part of Tony Cornero's fleet was a sister ship. I forget the name of it right now, but there was a robbery on that ship.
Okay.
And so the seeds just got planted and like robbery, gambling ships. I got this uncle who's in place there. So I promoted him to Tony Cornero's partner. And instead of just the night's receipts being stolen from the boat, I made it gold that was being transferred from Sicily to Los Angeles for the Dragna crime organization, which was the mafia franchise, as it were, in Los Angeles. They ran the local crime for Los Angeles. And it gets stolen. And so the rest of the story is partly searching for the gold and the effects that it had on the lives of the various characters.
Okay.
And so that's where we got to start. But it was something that was with me for years and years and years. And it just kind of added a little bit there. Then when I read that book, okay, now I think I got the connection.
Okay. So SS Rex is a real gambling destination for the citizens of LA, as you mentioned.
Oh, it was very, very popular. In fact, that's why the county and the state had so much trouble closing him down, because everybody loved to get out there and gamble. Either that or it was 200-mile drive to Las Vegas. And in those days, Las Vegas was nothing more than a wide spot in the road. It hadn't developed into what it is today. So it was a very, very, very popular place.
Speaking of the old Los Angeles, can you give us the comparison of the Los Angeles before and now?
Oh my God. It is so different today than it was then. The office building where my character, Kid O'Banion, works on his regular job was on Bunker Hill. And it was just being developed during actually, the building went up in 72 and the story takes place in 74. So, but up then there wasn't a lot of skyscrapers, and you could sit in this, and it was faced on the four points of the compass. So if you was in the office and you looked directly out the window due south on a clear day, it had to be a clear day, of course, because there was more smog then, you could see Catalina. And that's where my character in one of the scenes in the book is sitting there daydreaming about Catalina instead of work. And it was great. And having been working in that environment myself, it's fantastic. Now there's just skyscraper after skyscraper after skyscraper. And you look out the window, all you see is black glass from another building. So,
That's true.
and of course, Manhattan Beach, too, where a lot of the activity takes place. In those days, it was a real funky beach community with funky apartments and bars and pizza places and surfers and fishermen and stuff like that. And you can just go down there and hang out. And 3 or 4 people, college kids or something like that, could go down there and rent a nice apartment for the summer, dirt cheap. Now it's all condominiums and high rises, and it's just not the same anymore.
Nice.
But in California in general, there was about 100 million fewer people in Los Angeles back then. So it didn't have a lot of the problems that we have today. Yes, there were homeless, but in those days we called them vagrants, and they were probably drunk and they'd leave. We just have to step over a couple of them to get into work in the morning. But it wasn't anything like what you see in the news today.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good development, although the environment now is not the same as before, where
it's nowhere near the same as before.
Yeah.
Well, you could go from Los Angeles. Well, actually, the civilization kind of ended in Santa Ana. If you're leaving from Los Angeles, it's about 30 miles from downtown LA. And the rest of the way from Santa Ana to San Diego, which is about 120 miles, nothing. Absolutely nothing. There were some nice, beautiful beaches like San Clemente and Capistrano and stuff like that. But the road, there was no 4-lane highway. There was little, a wood chopper place like that. You could buy fruit and all this kind of stuff. And it was just fantastic to take that drive. Now you never get off the freeway. All you see is just businesses off to the side, and it's horrible. I'm a people person, but too many people can kind of ruin something.
True. So, another question, because of your genre, what are the challenges the characters face in the pursuit of Cornero's gold?
Well, obviously they didn't have the communication abilities we have today. So you had to use your feet and a telephone, and most of the time it was a payphone. And they had no GPS, so you had to get on a paper map to find your way around. But most of it is the same thing that you would face today. Very boring surveillance and stakeouts and an occasional interesting chase or tail. They would call a tail job. But it just kind of falls into place, But it's being a private investigator is not what it's pointed out to be in the movies. Or it's a very boring job. But I think I got enough activity and action in the storyline to keep the readers interested. But
I think because of the lack of technology back then, it's much
It
more
wasn't technology. You
war.
literally, if you
Yeah,
wanted to make a phone call,
yes.
you had to go find a payphone. And
True.
you better have a roll of
Harder.
nickels or dimes or quarters or whatever to do it. And you didn't punch in your destination on your phone and have it find it for you. You had to get out your Thomas guide and look it up.
You have to do
So
everything on your own without
everything on your own. If you wanted to go research somebody, their background and like that, you had to go down to the county and go through the files. You wanted to find out if somebody had a record and like that. You had to literally go into the courthouse and pull the records for the time frame that you were looking for and the names and hope it was there.
yeah,
So now you can just punch it in on the phone. And, oh yeah, this guy's got a record. Here he does it or
one
whatever.
click you can know
Yeah,
someone.
one click and you got it all.
Yeah.
But no, not that. And this hasn't been that long ago where I remember going out and had to go into the courthouse to find stuff.
Oh,
So it's not that long ago.
yeah. That
These
would take
phones, there's
hours of
hours and hours and hours. Yeah.
how did you
So,
structure the story Cornero's Gold and develop your character?
uh, well, once I had a general idea of where I wanted the story to go, and after I had a pretty good handle on who the cast members were going to be, the characters, and their real interrelationships and how they relate to each other. And most of these are based on family
Members.
characters and friends and everything like that. Some of the antagonists in here are not real people, but most of the protagonists are.
Yeah.
Like my family members, my wife, my friends. So after I figured that out, I just sat down and started to write, and the story just kind of came together and developed itself. And from the very beginning, of two different storylines that kind of come together in the middle of the book before they start looking for the actual lost gold and everything like that. And it's just kind of the way it came together, introduced the different characters and their relationships with each other. And that's how it came to be.
Cornero's Gold is truly personal because it's based on your.
It is very personal, yeah. Like I say, the Jackie character's family is real. Now, okay, there is no desert hideaway in real life, and her sister, fictional sister, there doesn't exist, as does the fictional cousin or uncle for the Kid O'Brien character. But everybody else is real, and a lot of the anecdotes that take place in the interview are also real, of little things that have happened along the way, especially some of the incidents in the second or third chapter, the beach where they're going around looking for the one gal, whatever like that, and the guy runs into the door and knocks himself out. That's all real. The names have been changed to protect the guilty, but it's real. That all happened.
Speaking of the characters being real, can you say that the romance part in your book was inspired by your relationship with your wife?
Oh, very, very definitely. We were going to write this together. I retired in 2009, and she had to wait until 2015 to retire. And so we were gonna do this. So she took a creative writing class, and she was great. And so we decided, okay, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna write this story. And things happen and like that. And just before she was about ready to retire, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and 4 months later she was gone. So I wrote the book in tribute to her, and it was very easy to create because it was our relationship. I mean, some of the times and the places where it happened obviously are changed to fit the storyline, but the big talk, and I think I forget what chapter that's in. That's real. Well, what do you want from this relationship? I don't know.
Written
And
past.
where do you expect it to go? beats the hell out of me. I don't know. But that kind of stuff is pretty much straight on. And the relationship with her father and her mother, and the white line down the middle of an apartment in there, that is honest to God happened. They actually put a chalk line down the middle of the apartment and said, "You stay on your side, and I'll stay on my side." So,
You had a great relationship with your wife, and we are really,
oh, it was fantastic. I miss her terribly.
but it's good that you put it in the story. Your relationship was in your story, was in the
Yeah,
book.
it's a way to keep it alive, and hopefully in the sequels, which I hope will be many, we'll be able to further the adventures and maybe bring about the birth of our child and so down the road a ways. Obviously, it didn't happen in the time frame that it does in the book, but it'll happen. It does happen.
It'll happen.
Yeah,
Crossing my
we
fingers.
actually didn't get together until '89 rather than '74. I mean, so I mean, the time frame has been moved to
Yeah.
adjust for the characters and the other events in the book, which made it necessary to happen in 1974 as opposed to the late '80s. Otherwise, everybody would have been way dead by that time. You know, because most of the older characters in the book uh, are already in their 70s or 80s in '74. So if you wait till the early '90s, when we actually did get together, they'd really all be dead.
So, are there any interesting anecdotes or experiences you'd like to share from the writing process of Cornero's Gold?
Uh, Not really, since most of the writing process took place during COVID and I didn't have anything else to do. Uh, my life and it was boring. So I mean, we sat down at the computer and just wrote all day with very little interference from the outside world. And so there wasn't really a lot of things going on that,
That have
yeah. Uh, I finally got the original completed in 21, and I submitted it to. Well, I had a friend of mine who was also a writer. The detective who inspired me wrote a series of short stories, and that helped inspire me to do this. And he had an editor of sorts, and he online published his through Amazon. So he gave me her number, and we, polished off my book a little bit, and then we submitted it to Amazon under its original title, which was "Then There Were the Horses," and it didn't do anything for 6-8 months. And I said, this is I got to do something else. So I went started looking for a real publishing company, and I found Greenleaf Publishing, and I just submitted the original book as my original draft, and they said, "Good, we like it, but there's always a but.
there's a bot.
It needed tweaking." And so we spent the next 8-10 months rewriting it, and we went. The original story was told more in a narrative. It was just the storyteller telling the story, and we retold the story in dialogue more than the narrative, and descriptions and everything like that. And it fleshed the story, and I think it turned out obviously much better than the original draft. And then when I finished with the original editor, then they sent me to another editor, and then to another editor. After about 4 or 5 editors, everybody was satisfied with the final version, and it was released in September of 2023, and it was slow going, but then Amazon reached out to you folks, referred my book to you, and here we are. And hopefully,
Forward to today.
it will do the trick to push us over the top now and get this thing sold. and generate some interest in it so that it'll make it worthwhile to do the sequels.
Yes.
I'm about halfway through the first one. Yes.
Okay. So how would you describe the overall tone of the novel Cornero's Gold?
Uh, as I said, it was lighthearted, Thin Man, uh, Dashiell Hammett-ish, but as compared, well, the Thin Man as compared to the Maltese Falcon, which are both Dashiell Hammett. Maltese Falcon is very grim, not grim, but you know, just I don't know how to describe it, but it's just kind of depressing in the way the characters are interacting, like everything like that. I like Philip Marlowe much better than I do Sam Spade as a character, but the Thin Man with the Nick and Nora Charles are very lighthearted banter. Nick is a bit of a toper. He likes to drink, and in fact, they both drink, and they have an interchange, which reminded me a lot of. Not that I'm a drinker or anything like that, but the interplay between Nick and Nora Charles is very much like one would expect between Jackie and myself. And I try to get that feeling going in the book. And then the characters in The Thin Man are all wisecracky, and they're parodies of criminals, the old time criminals, or like that. More Runyon-esque characters than you would find in a hardcore no story. And I like that feel, very lighthearted, and I think I've managed to achieve that with the book.
So
So
you mentioned earlier that you are currently working on the sequel of the Journey of Kit Abanian.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you still working on it right now?
Well, I'm in the middle of it. Trying to put, well, it's kind of been on hold for the last month or two and like that because just things going on in my life in general, needing painting in my house and general chaos around here. So it's about halfway done, and I should be back into it hopefully within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and to finish it. And then the process has to start all over again of rewriting it and going back and forth and getting hopefully Greenleaf to hook me up with their editors again, and do that. Of course, it all depends on the demand that's created by our current process here to make it worthwhile. Because I want hopefully Greenleaf to say, "Hey, your other was doing pretty well. We'll foot the bill this time."
Anyway, I hope you will finish the sequel soon for your.
I'm hoping that by the end of the year, the sequel will be finished. It won't be the finished product, obviously, but it will be ready enough to submit to Greenleaf to start the process again for a new novel.
All the best for your sequel, O'Brien.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
I think it's a pretty good,
yeah.
a
Is there
pretty
any
good story I got lined up.
is there
Pardon?
any specific message you hope your readers will take away from the book Cornero's Gold?
Not a specific message. I just hope that the readers like the adventures of the current adventure and will be interested enough and want to see more, and that there will be hopefully a ready-made market for the sequels when they come out. But that's basically it. I just I'm not like the literary people of old. I don't have any social message. I don't have any agenda. I just want to entertain my readers and hope that they like it and want more.
Okay, so last question. Where can the readers and the audience purchase your book?
Right now, as I said, it is available on Amazon, and they are pushing it on social media. And Inkscript is pushing it, obviously. And I went to a place called Tina's Promotions, and they're pushing it online in various places. And so, exactly where it's available other than Amazon, I don't know. I know it's available on Kindle and everything like that, but that's pretty much primarily where it is available now.
Do you have any other message you'd like to convey to the readers or the audience or fellow writers?
Well, to fellow writers, uh, if you've got the desire to do it, do it. I mean, if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. But if it's something you really want to do it. I'm so glad that I decided to do it. I'm not sorry at all that made. Hopefully, it will turn into something great. I think we're coming along well. But if it doesn't, no loss. I've had fun. And
Starting with the COVID, now you're here with us today.
pardon.
Started during the COVID, and now you are here with us.
And
With
now I'm here, and hopefully it'll take off. You never know. And so that's basically where I'm at. And so I had a wonderful trip, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter, which, as I said, about halfway done. And I got two more after that that's up here in my head that hopefully will take. But if it takes as long to write each one as this one did, it's going to take a while. I just hope I have that much time. I'm no kid anymore.
Yeah, all the best for you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So that ends our interview for this afternoon. That was a great conversation, Mr.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
I think
sharing
it's
your story today with us.
my pleasure. Thank you very much.
And to our valued audience, be sure to check out the book Cornero's Gold by Larry O'Brien. Once again, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, here's a picture of it. Just
Yeah. Okay. So that's the book Cornero's Gold by Larry O'Brien.
yes, it is.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Larry.
Oh, thank you so much for yours.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good day now.
Yeah, you too.
Bye bye.